Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'll be talking about Darren Till, the rising prospect in the UFC welterweight division, and one of the better prospects in the UFC, in the welterweight division, and in MMA period right now. He has a lot of talent, a lot of potential, and he's been showing it lately. But in this video, I'm not going to just be talking about how good he is or how what his future holds and what he can be and all this and that. I'm also going to be countering that stuff. I'm going to be talking about weaknesses I see in him and stuff, bad performances I've seen and stuff I seen that's hasn't been the best looking about him. Like some of the stuff, like his weaker areas are his shortcomings and stuff I've seen. So let's get into it. In his first fight versus Darren versus Wendell Oliveira, this was his debut fight in the UFC. He's fought Wendell Oliveira and he did a solid performance. It's not like Wendell Oliveira is no huge win as far as credential wise, but it's a good solid win. He got a TKO over him in the second round, and then that's impressive enough. Nice win, but nothing like amazing about it. He did what he had to do. And then his second fight, in a fight that a lot of people either didn't watch or forgot about or don't really care to think about, was a draw against Nicholas Dalby. And I knew about Nicholas Dalby before the fight at that time, but I didn't really know about Darren Till at the time. So all I saw was like a draw. I missed the fight when it happened live. And then recently I just watched it about 2 weeks ago just to see what happened in that fight and like why it was a draw. And also I just checked up on Fight Metric and I saw that actually that in this fight Nicholas Dalby landed way more significant strikes than Darren Till, almost doubling him. Nicholas Dalby had 84 significant strikes to Darren Till's 49 strikes. And then I looked at the little round by round. Then I watched the fight itself and Darren Till looked good in the first round, dropping Nicholas Dalby. He looked great. And then the second round, he just looked decent. It was kind of a close second round. And then in the third round, Darren Till looked bad in my opinion. He still looked good to start the round, but then he was caught with a head kick and some other punches, and he was rocked. And I didn't like his response to being rocked because he looks good when he's the attacking fighter, but he doesn't look the best when he's actually hurt or wounded or taking damage. When he's on the bad side, he looked like he was wilting. Like it's very clear that he was wilting in that fight after he got rocked. He was curling up at several times like he'd have been TKO'd. The response wasn't good. That kind of brings into question his heart and maybe his recoverability and his response to adversity. And ever since that fight, he hasn't really faced any adversity as far as UFC opponents since then. So how would that look in against when he fights more of the top competition? I know Don Cerrone's a top-notch fighter, but it was not like it was ever a war between them in that fight. It was a one-sided beatdown. So how would it look if he gets pressured and he gets hurt in a fight with a top-level competitor? Will he wilt like that? And his takedown defense faded very bad, like real quick when he got rocked. Dalby was able to take him down twice, was able to stay on top of him, drop elbows on him, secure advantageous positions and hold him and do significant damage. And the fight really could have been stopped by some other refs, but he made it to decision, like barely made it to decision, and it was awarded a draw. You could give Darren Till the first two rounds, but you could even give the third round a 10-8 for Dalby, which I think some judges did. So that kind of brings into question. That's like the biggest question mark on his UFC record right now. Then the second fight versus Jason Ariari, I watched that fight. I wasn't too impressed with Darren Till at that moment. I remember him talking about how he was knocking out heavyweights and knocking out adult grown man when he was like a teenager because he'd been at the gym that long. But in the fight, I saw a lot of great striking talent from him and just overall great composure. But I wasn't too impressed. It's not like he was dominating his opponent. He was kind of just barely outstriking and barely outmatching his opponent. It was a unanimous decision. He won like every round, but he was just barely doing it against Justin Ariari, who was himself not really that impressive of an opponent. It seemed like you shouldn't have to just get by over this type of level of competition. But he's a young fighter and he's always growing and still growing at this moment. Still one of the younger fighters, so you can't really hold that against him. And he has shown to be much better with each and every fight, especially after this fight. And then in the Bohan Vlahovic fight, that's when Darren Till kind of came out, like started showing his talent more. So in that fight, he was able to pretty much do whatever he wanted to Bohan, and he looked good in that fight. And then in the Cerrone fight, we all know that's when the real hype train started like moving. That's when the hype train caught steam and started moving because now people saw him run through Cerrone. They could see him as in talks for a future champion, future contender, and he's talking about he could be a middleweight, light heavyweight, but and all that stuff. But I think it's still a little too early for that. I think there are much more well-rounded prospects who are like more into their game. Their game's more evolved and they're more at that level right now. But I think definitely Darren Till with the right changes and improvements and maybe the right fights that he needs, he could definitely bring out the stuff that he needs to be that level. But I think at this moment, I don't think it's a little too soon to really start hyping him up at that level. I think he's definitely one of the better prospects, but it's way too soon. We all know Don Cerrone is kind of a late starter. I think even regardless of that, I think in a striking match, I think Darren Till is a better striker than Cerrone. So in this fight, I think, I mean, not in this fight, but it's in his career, I think he needs to. We had to see him against a wrestler. He hasn't really fought like a legit wrestler, like someone that's a wrestler or a grappler in the UFC. So we had to see him against those people first, see how he does against them, because he already gave them takedowns to Nicholas Dalby. So that's not a good indicator right there. Taking down to Cerrone, not that bad, and he responded well to the Cerrone's takedown. He was able to get up. He wasn't phased by the takedown, and Cerrone didn't do nothing with it. So he looked good against Cerrone as far as his takedown defense. But we had to see him against a top level grappler and maybe some more well-rounded top level competitors before we start even calling him, trying to just give him all this hype. So that pretty much rounds up or wraps up what I'm trying to say about Darren Till. I think he's a excellent talent. He has a lot of potential, and he's definitely young enough and to have many years to improve on what he needs to improve on. But you can't just rest on age alone. So he definitely has to fight some more top level competitors and get that experience in with the top level. And I would like to see him face more adversity and see how he responds now as opposed to how he responded in 2015 when he fought Nicholas Dalby. So thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and come back for more videos. Peace.